Good morning, you all. In my previous lecture, we had discussed American hegemony in terms of hard power, that is military power. And today we are here to discuss hegemony as a structural power. When we use the word hegemony, when we talk about the word hegemony, it refers to the predominant state of a particular, I must say, the predominant situation, predominant state of a particular country in the world, especially in terms of military, because the root of the word hegemony, it goes back to ancient Greece, where the word hegemon was used for the state of Athens because they were the most powerful one, their armed forces were the most powerful one. And it is like, when we discussed US hegemony as hard power, it was very much clear that of course they are the most powerful ones. But for using the word hegemony nowadays, when the entire world is turning into a global village, when we talk about, when everybody is talking about world economy, the economic survival of a country is not possible alone individually on this international platform. The word to refer to the word hegemon, it has, the word hegemon has three dimensions. That is hegemony as a hard power, that is military power, then comes this hegemony as a structural power, and then hegemony as soft power, which we will be discussing later. So let's talk about hegemony as a structural power. To understand the word hegemony as a structural power, we must understand the word that is world economy. When the entire world is turning into a global village, I already told you, when every country is welcoming free trade, today is the era of free trade, when every country is welcoming foreign direct investment, that is very much important that one hegemon is over there. One hegemon is there who has this capacity, at the same time capability to establish certain norms. Those are the norms which are useful to have this order and must sustain the global structure. Even when it is an open economy, even when foreign investment is welcomed by all the countries, even when it is very much easy nowadays to communicate with the rest of the world, like it is very much essential that one leader is over there, one hegemon is over there who has this capacity, at the same time desire to make certain norms. And what are those, why those norms are essential? So that they can bring an order in the world. Even if international transactions are required, of course they are required, there must be a particular currency. There must be a particular currency in which it can be done. Otherwise, maybe Russia wants it to be done in ruble, maybe India wants it to be done in rupees. Why? It will lead to a great chaos, and then things cannot be in order. That is the reason a hegemon is required, of course, and it's not so easy to be a hegemon. The state, for becoming a structural hegemon, the state should have this capacity, the state should have this desire at the same time to make certain norms which bring order in this economic structure. And of course, America has this capacity. Hegemony in this second sense is reflected in the role played by the US in providing global public goods. Before we proceed, I will like to explain you the meaning of this word global public goods. The meaning of this word global, the global public goods, it refers to those goods which can be used by one person, which can be consumed by one person without reducing its quantity, without reducing the amount available for someone else. The example is, I must say that these sea lanes, at the same time the roads, airlines, all these are the examples. Our airplane is also using the same airlines, and at the same time one American airplane is also over there, one Pakistani airplane is also there. At the same time, these sea lanes of communication, whatever international trade is done, whatever merchant ships and the lanes which are used by cargo ships, merchant ships, whatever rules and regulations are there, they are not possible. It would not be possible in the absence of the naval power of the hegemon, that is multi-oceanic US Navy. Till the Second World War, the role, the role of that hegemon was played by the British Navy, to make the rules and regulations of these, sea lanes of communication, that is very, very important for international trade. They are like those rules and regulations are to be used by those cargo ships when they cross the borders of different countries or they travel in the open sea while carrying goods. So till the Second World War, this rule was I must say the role was played by the British Navy. But during the Second World War, they declined, and nowadays this role is played by the multi-oceanic U.S. Navy. So another example that U.S. as a structural hegemon. Now one more very much a good example of global public good is internet. And nobody can underestimate the importance of internet nowadays. Even it is the miracle of internet only that I am able to address to you people. So this entire idea or the virtual world of World Wide Map is World Wide Web is www, that is World Wide Web is possible only with the help of internet. And internet is a direct outcome of a US military research project which took place in 1950. And we know it very well that internet is a combination of different networks only. Internet is totally dependent upon multiple networks of satellites only, and most of these satellites are owned by the US government. So the US is present in all parts of the world. The US shares of the world economy remains an enormous 28% in all, till this book was written, the US share of the world economy, that is about 28%, and there is not a single sector of the world economy in which an American firm does not stand in the top 3 list. There is not a single economic sector in the world where, in the top 3, one American firm is not over there. At the same time, it is very much important to remember that why American economy is called a structural hegemon one, not because American economy is a powerful one. There is one more reason behind. American economy has given the basic functional norms, the basic structure to international economy. After the Second World War, the Bretton Woods system set by the US after it still constitutes the foundation of the world economy. Whatever the institutes of world economy, they are the World Bank, International Monetary Fund or World Trade Organization, they are basically American by nature. And a classic example of the structural power of the US is in the academic degree called MBA. America was the first country which gave this idea to the world that business is a skill which can be taught in colleges. The first business school was established in 1981 in America. In 1881 in America only. The first MBA course outside the US was established in 1950. So till 1900, the first MBA courses, they would run only and only in America. And today there is no country in the world in which the MBA is not considered to be a prestigious academic course, even in our own country as well. And when we discuss this, we go back to this, African friend Zebu, whom we had discussed in my first lecture, that leaving painting, his father is pressurizing him to go for MBA degree. MBA degree which was conceived by America only. This notion was conceived by America only, that business is a skill which can be taught in colleges as a degree. Otherwise business was done, trading was done, it has been done for thousands of years in human civilization. But America was the first country which gave this idea that it is a skill and it can be taught in colleges. So this proves that America is a structural hegemon. Thank you.